In this video, I'm going to show you how to place the rear lower control arm on this Chevy Equinox. This is the one that holds your spring on the bottom, so let's get started. Let's start by removing the wheel. Use a 22mm socket and remove all 5 of your lug nuts and then pull the wheel off. With the wheel off, let's put some pressure on this lower control arm. Because I'm on a lift, I'm going to use a pull jack just to support the weight of it. There we go. That's it. If you're on the ground, you can just use a floor jack. Next, let's remove the lower shock bolt. It's an 18mm headed bolt. You don't have to hold the mounting nut on the other side because it's welded onto the control arm. Let's pull this bolt out. And right below it is going to be a 21mm bolt that goes through the bottom of the control arm. On this one, you do have to hold the mounting nut on the backside with a 21mm wrench. All right, the mounting nut is off. We do have to adjust the pressure on the pull jack a little bit because it seems to be quite a bit under tension here. So I'll raise this up. There we go. We can lower this slowly. All right, let's leave it right here. From underneath the control arm, we have to remove the sway bar link mounting nut. For that, you want to use a 13mm socket. And just a little bit further back, you have this 18mm bolt that holds the control arm onto the rear subframe. Loosen this one up as well. So the mounting nut does have a tab on it, but it looks like it's spinning. So I'm going to have to hold it with an 18mm wrench. Now lower the control arm. That's as low as my pull jack will go, so I'm just going to raise the lift. Okay, spring is in here. Now it's going to fall, so I'm going to remove it before it actually falls and set it aside so I can safely replace the control arm. Hold the arm, pull the bolt out, pull the bolt out, and there it is. Now take your new control arm, slide it through the subframe, and have the bolt ready. Get that lined up and through. And on the back side of it, you'll see a cutout right here where the mounting nut can go on. Just get that started, a couple threads. There we go. Out of the old control arm, we have to remove the lower spring insulator. A lot of times these get stuck in here, so I'm using a little pry bar and a screwdriver to kind of get at it and pry it out. There's nothing holding it other than just the fact that it's stuck from being here for years and the pressure of the spring gluing it to the control arm basically. But unless you have a new one, you have to get this one out, so you can't just put the metal spring on the metal control arm. There it is. It does have a piece of wire metal going through it, so if it bends a little bit, just straighten it out. But that should be good. Take the spring, and in my case, I know that this is the bottom because it's rustier than the other side. So just line it up with the spring seat, just like that. As I said, the top is a lot less rusty. Line it up with the top. Bring the control arm up, make sure that sway bar link goes through the mounting hole, and then have your pull jack or whatever you're using, the support, ready to go. Try to line things up and stick whatever bolt goes through or lines up first, just so you can have it set in position. This one's going to need some adjusting, but it's halfway through, so that's fine. Try to get the shock absorber lined up as well. Okay, that one's not tight yet, but it is in. Let's continue getting this one in. Change your support location if needed so that the control arm can seat better. Put some pressure on it and then drive the bolt in. In order to correctly tighten all these bolts, because there are bushings that pivot, we have to raise this corner at right height, so raise up the control arm with whatever support you have. And now let's snug up all the bolts and then we'll come back and torque them. Torque this inner control arm bolt where it bolts onto the subframe to 92 foot-pounds. Torque the lower shock bolt to 81 foot-pounds. And now torque the lower knuckle bolt to 118 foot-pounds. If the bolt and the nut are spinning together, just use a wrench on the other side to hold it so you can accurately torque it. And don't forget about the sway bar link, torque that to 11 foot-pounds. At this point, you can safely lower the entire suspension on this corner of the vehicle, and let's reinstall the wheel. Put back all 5 of your lug nuts, snug them up in a cross pattern, and also in a cross pattern, tighten them to 140 foot-pounds. With the vehicle back together, test drive it, and because you changed the suspension component, an alignment is highly recommended so you don't get uneven tire wear.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.